right there. This should be relatively quick. I mean, it's pretty much the same as Yang. It's pretty much the same as Yang. The only difference is the normals that actually matter are the ones that build meter. So his low forward, his standing jab. Excuse me. The only things to make sure to keep in mind are the jab short strong chains. You know, because these can connect into shoulder, dash punch, or dragon kicks. Now, the only problem with this that I've seen most players get into is that they get either parried from the first one, or they get red parried from the last hit. So that's what makes this option not really good for Yun nowadays, because it's like, you know, you're going to catch a parry into a punish, and it's not really that, you know, it's not really an option that you want, because, you know, you want meter. You know, you don't want to get stopped from that. You don't want to get rushed down. So one option to do is to mix it up with his other normals. So for example, low forward, it's better than Yang's because it's 1 frame faster. It has larger range. So, and you can also hit confirm into dash punch. So it really gives you enough meter to get up to Canadian. So for example, if you used to do that gives you about a quarter meter, and plus the knockdown for dash kick pressure. And from there, Canadian. So that's with his low forward. I mean, he has other uses too. You know, you can play footsies with this, and with the same concept as Yang, you can use this to force a footsie game, and this allows you easier access to coming from the air. So, for example, if a Ken was to throw out a low forward, you know, if you're distancing it, you can, you know, keep on playing this type of game and just get that one aerial punish, and it gives you at least half meter, enough for Ganesian. So the basic game plan for Yun is to always get Ganesian. I mean, it's a pretty cheap method, but you know, it's what wins games. You know, it's what makes him so strong as a character. You know, so his low forward, his jab short strong. I'm pretty sure this can be delayed. You know, 1, 2, 3 rather than 1, 2, 3. So you can keep this, you know, as a tight block string if you want, or just keep it simple with you know, little stutter steps in between. So 1, 2, 3, like that. So there's that, and also the fact that, you know, people tend to red parry the strong. You can do like 1, 2. This is one option that I do, or that Japanese players tend to do, because they have a tendency to get red parried. So they do 1, 2, and then low forward into a dash punch, which is really strong. So, you know, it gives a good amount of meter. And it allows you to set up anything else. So like that. Or in my case, what I personally do is I do jab short and then jab into far fierce, which is a really good option because if they get hit by it, you know, it builds enough meter to get a chunk of Ganesian. So So it's all about spacing in this matchup, so low forward is your best bet. Low strong is definitely your best option for meter building. You definitely want to abuse this move when it comes to being full screen away. You know, the biggest misconception that young players have is that, you know, they're afraid of getting punished, you know, close up by low strong, you know, by abusing low strong. But, you know, they're really supposed to be using it back here. And right here you have Grenadian, and you know, it's not really the type of move that you wanna, you know, just stop using, because it's his best normal to build meter with. So you know, I see people have a tendency to just like stop right here and just walk back and forth. That's not really what you want to do. You always want to be in motion. You always want to, you know, either not mash buttons, but, you know, press the buttons that will keep you safe. So standing forward is a really good move to use, because, you know, it keeps them at a distance. It stops people from dashing up. Low forward, same concept. You know, you can buffer into dash punch with that, so it's a really good move. Not to mention the fact that you can also hit confirm with it as well. On arcade, it's definitely easy to hit confirm. So just like that. So yeah, his low strong is basically used for meter building. You can also use it, you know, close up, like on the big characters. For example, Urian, you can do low strong, walk up, low strong, walk up, low strong, walk up, low strong. And Urian can't really do anything except for parry and then fierce, which is something that, you know, a young player can expect and just easily punish. So it's really good pressure, you know, to use to build meter. So, you know, you can use that in conjunction with low forward. So and just build meter. So, not to mention the fact that you can also do you can also connect it with the chain. For example, low strong, standing short. Like that. So, not to mention, you can also do 2 low strongs. Like that. And that gives you a chunk of meter, and that's all that matters when it comes to being young. You know, you have to get that meter in order to get the damage from the agent. And then from the ender, right there, Grenadian again. Grenadian again. So, you know, it's very easy to get Grenadian, but the only point is to actually, you know, be safe when it comes to activating, when it comes to actually having the super. You know, most young players, the downfall of most young players is the fact that they don't activate. You know, they'll have the meter and they'll treat it as if it's another type of super, like with Chun-Li's super, and they'll try to save it for the next round. You never want to do that, because reason being is, you know, you build a meter fast enough by just doing low, strong, 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 and just simply rushing down, you can just pressure into genei, and right here you have enough for another meter, and that's what actually matters. You want to make sure that you get the kill, so the opponent has no chance of coming back. Even if you don't have meter the next round, you do what you can to conserve the meter after genei, rather than conserve it before genei. So there's low strong, low short. Low short is really good on wake up because 9 times out of 10 players will want to rush you down, so you can always do a low short into dash punch, and it'll get the knockdown, and it gives a good amount of meters. So as you can see, about a good chunk, about like 30 points. No, not 30 points a meter. About 25 points a meter or so. 20 to 25 points a meter, which is a lot for Yan. So, and not to mention the fact that you can do, if you're on the offense, you do, grab, you can do confirm low short into the dash punch. Me personally, I don't really use this because I don't like risking the fact that if I miss the second one, I can get punished easily. Same thing with the other confirms, like standing strong into dash punch, low strong into low short dash punch. I don't really like using that because it's not really he's not really the hit confirm type of character. So there's no point in putting yourself at risk to mess this up and to catch a full punish for that. When you can just do a parry into just that, or low strong into shoulder. His standing strong chain combo, it's really good for pushback. So, for example, it's good for pushback and also good for a pressure. So, for example, if you were close up like this, you can do standing strong high punch, standing strong fierce into low forward, into shoulder or whatever. And as you can see, it gives you about a quarter meter, which is good enough for a rushdown. So as long as you on pressure, as long as you get at least 25% a meter, then you're doing a good pressure with Yan. So for example, if you were to do do something like then you have genei. So it's all about the spacing that you have to properly be safe. So you can do something like standing strong fierce chain into nothing. So for example, do this, but then just do it from this distance, jump forward a little bit, and then do forward dive kick, or roundhouse depending on the range. So, and that gives you at least 3/4 meter, and then into genei. You can mix this up with plenty of other moves like that, or low forward, or dive kick, or even standing fierce for a pushback, and leaves you at good distance for jump up forward to dive kick for any other pressure that you want. So that's basically, not basically it, but you know, these are one of the most important normals to use. So low forward definitely is best bet. Low strong for building meter, close strong chain, or even far strong chain. You can actually use this for anti-airs versus the characters with big jump arcs or small jump arcs, excuse me, like Dudley. So if he's at this distance and he jumps in on you, you can use the standing strong fierce chain for extra pressure, and you'll be relatively safe from it, so, from any other jump in. So, and there's that. And low strong. Low strong is actually good for an anti-air if you expect it. You know, if you expect somebody to jump in at you and they're not going to do anything, you can do low strong into dragon kicks, which gives you at least 25% of meter, and perfect for rushing down. You know, so there's that. Close forward. Same thing with with Yang, that, you know, the properties that he has, you can super jump cancel this move. So if you get parried, forward parried, and somebody tries to grab you, you can super jump cancel, and you know, you won't get grabbed from it. So this can be used if the opponent tries to jump in on you, and you use this as an anti-air. You can jump out of there, or you can buffer a parry as well. So like that. Now if they're jumping back in the corner and you know they're not going to parry, this is one of the strongest things to use, because of how much meter it gives you if it hits. So for example, you could do a finisher from this if, you know, they jump back carelessly and you catch them with it. So for example, right there, that's half meter right there, and then you get another rush down. And that's another meter. And with the finisher, if you catch them with the jump back, you know, that's another genei, and that's death. So there's that. Probably missing some other things. Standing fierce. Standing fierce is actually one of the good moves to use in terms of pushing somebody back. So like I said before, the pressure that I use is jab short, then jab again into standing fierce. And as you can see, all of it hitting, it spaces them out perfectly, you know, for outside the footsie range, but perfect for your dive kick range. So for example, 1, 2, and then just dive kick into whatever. So, you know, this setup is what I personally use sometimes. It's really good because not only does it give you a good amount of meter on block, but if it hits, then that's even better. So, so you'll see. You know, it gives at least almost 25% of meter when you connect the fierce punch. And not to mention the fact that it spaces them out properly, so it allows you for more rush down. And right here you have genei already. So as you can see, it's a really good tool to use, standing fierce. Also good for pressure. So for example, low short, standing fierce, and not to mention the fact that the pushback that it does allows you to do at least 2 or 3 low strongs if the opponent is backing off. So that's good enough for a meter, and you know, with the space that it gives you with the rushdown, you get genei like this. So that's one thing to look out for with that setup. Far roundhouse is another good move because it knocks down. So for example, if you're playing footsies, you can really use this move like you know, you can mix this up any way you want if you want to. So, you know, me personally, I have a tendency to do 2 low forwards and then standing roundhouse, simply because most players, if they see 2 low forwards, their next instinct is to buffer parry low or to try a counter poke with a low hit. So this 2 low forwards that I do, it spaces them out just enough, so if I press roundhouse, it's gonna knock them down and it's gonna hit them. The good thing is it deals a good amount of meter and a good amount of damage along with the knockdown, so it gives you time to set up a wake up. So it's a really strong normal to use. Standing fierce is actually another one too. Similar to Yang's, you can actually use this to stop normals in between. So for example, if they parry the first hit but then try to do a normal, it's not really gonna work. So no. You'll see that I'm gonna do standing fierce, and the opponent would try to do standing strong to punish it, but it's not gonna work because the second hit connects. So it obviously has to be something less than 3 frames or so that will be able to punish it. So you know, there's not many moves in the game that can do that. So along with any of the special that Yun has, he can do like, you know, standing fierce into another standing fierce, and that gives him about half meter. Standing fierce into low forward to space out properly. Standing fierce into standing forward, which pushes back even more. Or standing fierce into standing roundhouse. Or even just standing fierce into back kick to grab. So this, along with you know, with shoulder, with this is not really a viable option, the dragon kicks. So it's one of those best normals that he can use when it comes to being close up and rushing down. So that's a standing fierce. Definitely good to avoid players that like to guess parry on wake up. So it's a really good normal to use. Now, coming in from the air, his best normal obviously would be jump in roundhouse. But another thing to use is his chain. It does a good amount of stun damage, but also the two hit delay between it. you know, it allows the player to really mix up the options on a jump in, and you know that alongside with the fact that he has dive kick, it really makes Yun, you know, Yun's air game really strong. So not to mention the fact that if you do this, you can combo into chain, or you can mix it up with a command grab, or even go into a full combo if you see it connect. So freaking Asian. So not to mention the fact in air to air, it should beat out most of the normals that characters have in when it comes to playing air to air, because you know, you're coming in with jab, what's one of the fastest pokes in the game. So for example, if you have a tendency to do a dive kick like that, you can bait out a jump and then just, you know, jump forward into the chain combo. And you know, if you see it, you can buffer it at the same time and just do it right here. So for example, just do it like that, and even if it hits them, you know, you still have enough time to do whatever you want. So, but like I said before, the main point of this is to just get your meter. So you can see that even though it doesn't give you that much meter, you know, it's still something that'll keep the pressure on, and it's something that you want to do. So that's his air to air, best air to air normal. Palm's not really as useful as Yang's. You know, it has a limited range compared to Yang's. Only use when you know, if you want to stuff a Shoryuken, or if you know you're playing against an agent, you want to use this to stuff out a dash punch or something. So you know, that's one thing. Shoulders are really good for meter, obviously, but they have a tendency to get parried. So for example, this is not something that you want to do anymore, because that's very easy to parry, or reversal super. You want to use this sparingly, like for example, I would do like that in case they try to dash in, and then dive kick afterwards, and then jump back again, and then do it again. So not only does it give you enough meter, but if it hits, it gives you a chunk of meter, and if it's blocked, you know, you're still relatively safe. So aside from that, his strong shoulder is the next big thing. You mainly want to use these shoulders if you're anticipating something, not really when, you know, you just want to throw it out to get an agent, because you know, a top player can just expect this as a fireball, wait for it, see Young go under, and then just parry it forward. You know, it's relatively easy to stand still and just parry forward and get the punish from there. So you really want to use this on anticipation for like a jump or a whiff normal or something, because it goes under that. So best combo to use would be low strong into roundhouse dragon kicks, mainly because this gives you the most meter. Definitely more than jab short strong. You'll see that right now. I'm gonna do the jab short strong chain. Gives 28, while this gives 30, and with more meter too. So as you can see, it's a lot more viable than just doing 1, 2, 3 into that. So especially with the punishment, you know, it's definitely the best punishment to use. You know, one punishment, it gives you about 60% meter. So you don't really want to use this as anti-airs like in Street Fighter 4, because they can easily get parried and stuffed out. So they have no invincibility at all. The only one you would want to use on Wake Up is EX. So the follow-up for that would be the follow-up for the EX Dragon Kicks would be another roundhouse Dragon Kicks. As you can see, it gives a chunk of meter, and one dive kick into pressure gives Ganasian. So universal overhead I don't really use it unless it's during Ganasian. So reason being is because it connects into Ganasian due to the extra hit frames, due to the extra hit advantage. So for example, it's easier when he's crouching. So, but aside from this, you can also use this like that, but it's not really useful because it can get punished easily. So that's pretty much it with Yun. I mean, his main normals: low forward, standing roundhouse, standing fierce. Excuse me. Low strong, far strong, chain, close strong. You can definitely use this as sort of frame trap, so standing strong, and then so that's pretty much what you want to use. You really want to use these normals to focus on getting Ganasian. And basically the rule of thumb is 3 Ganasians equals death for the opponent, so in one round at least. So if you build meter plus mix-ups, you get Ganasian. If you get Ganasian, you get damage. If you get damage, you can win the game. So that multiplied by 3, obviously, you get 3 of those in a round, you automatically win. I mean, not automatically, obviously, depends on the player. But for the most part, generally, at a high level play, if you get 3 Ganasians, you win the game. You win the round, excuse me. So Counter command grab is only good during Ganasian. Not really. Same thing with Yang, but it's not as good as Ganasian counter command grab. So yeah, that's pretty much it with Yun. So as I said before, I have the coverage notes uploaded to a file storage site. I put it on the group page, and I'm also gonna put it in the description for the highlight video that I'm gonna do for this. So you'll be able to figure out anything you want with Yun when it comes to learning how to play him basically, or at a high level. So yeah, that's Yun, and now I'm going to play casuals. So I was gonna go over Remy, but that's just, I think going over 2 characters is enough for one day. So So yeah, oh, sorry about the question. Another, well, that's another thing I forgot to cover actually. When it comes to activating Ganasian from far, it depends on the character, and it depends on the player, because most of the times players tend to, they either bait out the Ganasian because they're not afraid of it, or they either bait out the Ganasian because they're not afraid of it, or they just try to keep away by doing fireballs, or by abusing normals that stop a dash punch or a jump in or something. So you have multiple ways of getting in. So as long as you have at least half meter when you get close to the character, it's fine. But even then, even if you waste it, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you got in close, and you dealt either as much damage, or you got a follow up to get enough meter for the next Ganasian. which is what matters. So for example, dash punch is not really that useful because it can be seen. Dive kicks are one of the best ones. Simply super jumping in can help, but even simply walking or carol walking with standing strong and standing short is what's really good. So also another thing with resets in Genei, they're useful to a point when you know, say if you start a Genei combo with a really damage scaling move like dash punch or simply just like do standing strong low short, standing strong low short, and it all combos into a corner combo. That's the type of situation where you will run a reset because, you know, not really for the damage, more so for the meter, for the finisher. So that's what really matters. So when you do a reset, whereas if you don't do a reset, you know, you get the maximum amount of damage, but you don't get as much meter. So either way, it's a win-win, but it's all a matter of preference to the player. The only thing is, if you try to do a reset, the only thing is for resets is that you know, it's very risky to do because, you know, you run the risk of losing the Genei entirely, and you don't really want that. So that's one of the things that young players should look out for when in Genei. So